Well, time for our first alert forecast now, and we can tell you that change is on the way, but it's still going to be cold out there, just possibly without the precipitation. Let's go to Lonnie Quinn now with more information. Lon?
You're all going to feel those temperatures dropping out there tomorrow. So let's get right into it, because here's your picture. All right, it's mostly cloudy overhead. It's 41 degrees, winds still out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour. Not terribly strong, but southwest wind, everybody in the entire area is above the freezing mark. 35 Monticello, 36 Woodbury. The colder air, all right, look for it. There's your northwest wind. That's your front. All right, that's when the temperatures drop. But as of right now, we're all above the freezing mark. Well, good and bad, right? Above the freezing mark, you had a heavy wet snow out there. We'll take a look at what it looked like. All right, this is in Narrowsburg, New York, in Sullivan County. I mean, ping pong ball size snowflakes there. A lot of that hitting the roadways. And yeah, it collected for sure. 3.5 inches in Narrowsburg. But in some towns south of that, it was like a wet roadway. And now with temperatures dropping, you got to be careful for those slick spots out there. And in terms of the biggest number, I just showed you Sullivan County. Ulster County had 4.5 inches. Wantage, New Jersey, 1.8. Hackettstown, 1.3. What happens next? All right, a little shot of snow north of New York City today. This is the system that's going to exit. You just heard from KJ about the situation in the Pacific Northwest, this atmospheric river pumping all that rain in and around Washington State. Well, our next storm could be a portion of upper-level energy within that flow. So I want you to watch how this is going to play out. This is the European study. Watch this area right here. All right, it's moving onshore by the time you get to, say, Friday. Now watch this dive. Watch it right here. It's diving and possibly into our area with widespread snow. The range snow line, according to the European, down around Cape May, that would give New York City its first measurable snow. Now, they're not in agreement with the other long-range model. I'll show it to you as well, and they're both reputable. The GFS model says no, it bubbles up more like around Philadelphia. Maybe Philadelphia sees their first measurable snow. Either which way, and you're going to see two different numbers here. One says, hey, it's New York snow. One says it's not. The European says 2 inches in New York City. The GFS says 0 for New York City. Let's keep our eye on this. If I'm going to go with my heart, I'm hoping the European is right. And I will say, the European has had a pretty good batting average as of late, so we'll keep an eye on the potential for some snow by the time we get to Sunday. All right, let's talk about how it all plays out. Overnight, 33 degrees. It gets windy out there as you get closer to daybreak, some 20, 30-mile-per-hour gusts. So those winds will help to dry out the roadways, but boy, some of those roads are just so wet. You got to watch out for those icy spots, especially north of New York City, where the temperatures are significantly below the freezing mark. Then you get into this area, Monticello towards Woodbury. I mean, you're not just below the freezing mark. You're into like the mid and upper 20s out there. Somerville, 29. Again, two hands on that wheel in the morning, especially if you're driving north of New York City. 35 for the high temperature, feels like 25. We said earlier, KJ, it's basically feeling like 25 degrees all day long. I mean, the temperatures go up a couple degrees in the afternoon, but the winds get stronger as well. Maybe some 30 or 40-mile-per-hour gusts across the board. Lots of 30s out there until you get to next Monday, maybe 28 for a high temperature. I will say I think the story could be what's brewing potentially for Saturday into Sunday. It's not a major storm, KJ, but it could potentially
it could be something,
give us that
something.
coating of white out there.
All right. Thank you, Lonnie.